See, yeah, this is your political agenda. You know what? We don't care.
That's Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump's mailing.
Indeed, Marjorie Taylor Greene just tossed a Trump campaign mailer that promised to protect Social Security and Medicare.
That's Donald Trump's mailing.
Right here is for Democrat ads to attack Republicans.
So it's really simple. It's really simple.
No, it's
Will
not
you
simple.
pledge
No, you're a
to take
liar.
Social Security and Medicare cuts off the
you
table?
You and this guy right here, look, you're lying.
What am I lying about?
Because
I'm asking you to take a pledge.
I don't need to take a pledge because we've already done that all year long. And guess what? The sad story for you is the American people elected Trump, his agenda, and Republicans to lead the country because you guys suck so bad.
So I'm just wondering if you want to take a pledge to not cut Social Security and Medicare.
Greene's refusal to make that pledge is significant because Elon Musk, the billionaire she's working with on government efficiency, is preparing to slash Social Security and Medicare benefits. Musk recently retweeted this post by Republican Senator Mike Lee. Of all the deceptive sales techniques the U.S. government has used on the American people, one of them, the Social Security Act, gets far too little attention. Buckle up because this is a wild ride. Over in the U.S. House, several MAGA conservatives are also embracing cuts to Social Security and Medicare as part of the GOP effort to reduce the budget deficit.
And so we've got to right the ship, and it's going to mean cuts. It's going to mean cuts to the 24% of the discretionary spending that we have. And it's also going to mean looking long-term at the front end of some programs like Social Security and Medicare, not taking anyone off of what they paid into so far. But there is some waste, abuse, and fraud in Medicare that we can take those numbers back and add to our general coffers and our Treasury. And on the front end of Social Security, I think there's a way when people are living longer, they're retiring later, that on the front end, we can move that retirement age back a little bit.
Currently, the retirement age for full Social Security benefits is 66. For anyone born in 1960 or later, full benefits will be available when you turn 67. Some Republicans want to push back the age to 70. Of course, instead of cutting or delaying benefits that Americans paid into the Social Security Trust Fund, another way to boost the program's solvency would be to raise the Social Security cap. In 2024, the maximum amount of earnings subject to the 6.2% Social Security tax is $168,600. But if you make $300,000 a year or $500,000 or $1 million a year, you are still only paying a Social Security tax on $168,000. As a result, working class Americans pay a higher percentage of their income to Social Security taxes than wealthy Americans contribute. Polls have found that most Americans believe the rich can afford to pay more and that if Social Security program solvency needs to be boosted, it should come through higher program taxes and contributions from the rich, not a cut or a delay in benefits for most working class Americans. In the view of many policy analysts, Social Security and Medicare benefits should be expanded. I agree. Both programs are secure and efficient, and for a majority of Americans, Social Security is the most important source of retirement income. It literally keeps tens of millions of Americans out of poverty. Right now, the average Social Security benefit is about $1,800 a month. That's a lot lower than in other industrialized nations. Also, $1,800 a month is not enough for working families to enjoy a secure retirement or make ends meet when tragedy strikes in the form of serious or permanent disability. So in my view, our lawmakers should be expanding Social Security benefits, not cutting them. Also, Donald Trump literally promised voters in 2024 that he would protect Social Security and Medicare. Here's the flyer that went to millions of Americans this fall. It says, "Protecting Social Security and Medicare, pledge with Trump." And yet, when House Republicans in the Government Efficiency Caucus were asked about the pledge, they refused to answer, or in some cases, they said they would break Donald Trump's pledge. Watch.
We're going to just keep asking members of the caucus as they come in, sir, can we get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits?
I think, you know what, when we look to reduce our national debt, I think these should be on the table.
Okay.
You know, so I am a strong advocate of discussing this and reevaluating them. And I do believe at the end of the day, there will be some cuts.
There are cuts to Social Security and Medicare.
Yes.
And that's on the table in the Doge caucus right now.
Well, we're about to find out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, at least Republican Greg Lopez of Colorado is honest. He wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. Several Republicans refuse to be transparent. They are hoping to cut government spending on the backs of elderly Americans and not be held politically responsible. And that takes us back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. As we have pointed out before, she is arguably one of the most contemptible Republicans in the U.S. House. Her policies are abhorrent, and her personal style is abrasive, disingenuous, and extreme. On this day, she was confronted by Alex Lawson, the executive director of Social Security Works. As the group's website says, the mission of Social Security Works is to protect and improve the economic security of disadvantaged and at-risk populations, safeguard the economic security of those dependent now or in the future on Social Security, maintain Social Security as a vehicle of social justice. The organization is funded largely by public donations and has worked with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. But MTG was her usual defiant, obnoxious self.
We're bipartisan.
Trump, no, you're not.
We
We looked you up.
Yeah.
You are 100% funded by Democrats. You donate to Democrats. You're out here asking bullshit questions.
What is the
No.
bullshit question?
All of your questions.
This is a mailing from
the American.
this is Donald Trump.
Trump. We all campaigned on protecting seniors' Social Security. You can't lie about it. See, yeah, this is your political agenda. You know what? We don't care.
That's Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump's mailing.
No, you are.
Full disclosure, I worked with Alex Lawson 15 years ago to assist a community radio station serve disadvantaged residents in Southeast Washington, D.C. Alex is a kind, wonderful guy and family man who has spent his entire life helping people. His work on Social Security is just part of that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, by contrast, is arguably one of the worst people in Washington. She promotes MAGA lunacy, disinformation, and narcissism. So seeing Greene and Lawson clash in a House hallway was remarkable and telling. Lawson was polite and straightforward. Greene was detestable and low class. But let's put aside personality and focus on policy. Do we really want to try and cut the government budget deficit by sending tens of millions of elderly Americans into poverty? People who contributed to Social Security deserve the benefits they were promised. It's plain and simple. Also, I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene and Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest man, should be deciding how much our elderly relatives should get in benefits each month from Social Security and Medicare. If Republicans are really concerned about deficits, try cutting the Pentagon's budget. Or if you want more money in the Social Security Trust Fund, raise the cap and tax the wealthy more. But this idea that we're going to boost government efficiency by cutting benefits for seniors, well, that is beyond sick. Now, I get that Social Security policy debates can be complicated and complex. And for viewers who do not care to follow this, let's just keep it simple. Just look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her low-class, uneducated, and nasty approach is all you need to see. Her meltdown speaks volumes and underscores that Republicans view campaign promises as worthless garbage. Well, a clear majority of Americans view Social Security and Medicare as incredibly valuable and programs that should be protected, as conservatives like Greene and others will soon discover. By the way, Canada is giving Donald Trump a final warning about tariffs. If the tariffs go through, Canadian leaders are pledging to cut off energy supplies to the United States.
Come and attack Ontario, you attack livelihoods of people of Ontario and Canadians. We're going to use every tool in our toolbox to defend Ontarians and Canadians across the border.
Trump responded to Ford's threat by saying this to CNBC.
Well, that's okay if he does that, that's fine, but the United States is subsidizing Canada. It's truly a subsidy, and we shouldn't have to do that.
Earlier, when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau flew to Mar-a-Lago to personally lobby Trump against the tariffs, Trump dismissed Trudeau by saying Canada should be the 51st state and Trudeau should be the governor. However, the premier of the Canadian province of Quebec, François Legault, met recently with Trump in France. Instead of insults, Trump delivered the bottom line.
And he told me very clearly that we can avoid those tariffs if we do what needs to be done with the border.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from BCT, who wrote, "I live in the USA and I stand with Canada on this." Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Marjorie Taylor Greene getting confronted to her face about Social Security and melting down. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.